Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first ever edition of Full-Time Live. Myself, Sammy, here with Jack Kelly and Joe Sansom, discussing Fulham's unfortunate but maybe deserved 1-0 defeats to Wolves in the Premier League. 4 defeats in a row. We're going to try and just give our instant reactions to the game and try and respond to some of your comments as well. Do let us know if you can hear us okay and it's all working. It's our first time kind of using the tech and stuff, so a little bit new for us. Chaps, we'll jump straight into it. Instant reactions to what was a much improved display. Jack, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm encouraged by the performance. I don't think we really put a foot wrong defensively. That being said, the goal we conceded was disappointing. It took a deflection into the path of Neto, who put it into the corner. It was a really good finish. I'm really encouraged with Areola. He made some really, really important saves for us. It could have been much more than one. But overall, we didn't look leaky. We didn't look like very weak defensively. And to concede the one goal, is obviously, like I said, encouraging. But it's going forward that's now quite a concern because we're not scoring enough goals. We haven't scored a goal today. So, yeah.
But, Joe, defence was our real worry. I think you can fix a team that can defend but can't attack, but a team that can attack and can't defend is much more problematic. Whilst, yes, we do need to improve going forward, I'm just so thankful that Scott seems to have maybe not improved things massively defensively, but there was some fight, some determination, some sensible decisions in defence. And yeah, and I'm not going to lie, when I saw that lineup at 1 o'clock, I was very worried when we saw Tim Ream and Maxime Lamarche on at centre-back.
Yeah, I was about to say, actually, before you said that, when I saw the lineup, I was thinking, oh my goodness, I'm not quite sure what to make of this. But to their credit, I thought all 4 of the back 4, and I guess a back 5 when we were out of possession, especially in the first half with Brian coming back in, all performed really well. I thought Robinson had a great Premier League debut. I thought Aina was much improved after I thought he looked a little bit off the pace against Brentford earlier in the week. But it was just nice to see some confident defending. And the fact that if they did make a mistake, other than the goal, if one of their Wolves players got through, Areola was in really good form today. He caught the crosses when he needed to. He punched when he needed to. And that double save in the first half, I thought was brilliant. I thought when it fell to Semedo, I thought it just had goal written all over it when he was approaching the 6-yard box. But I still obviously think we do need. I don't want this to trigger Tony Khan into suddenly cancelling the search for every centre back in Europe. But I do think that it was much improved, and it showed that it maybe isn't all down to individuals. A hard week of coaching them can lead to much improved performances against a team which is very good. They've had a ropey start to the season other than their win at Sheffield United, but Jimenez is a top-class striker, and for the most part, we kept him quiet.
Yeah, indeed. Right. Hopefully my fancy tech will allow me to show some comments that are coming through. So this one from Luca Clark: much improved all round and surprised how solid Maxime Lamarche and Ream looked together today. Yeah, I totally agree. Oscar O'Regan: feel better to see Burnley and Sheffield United have 0 points and West Brom have 1. That's a good point, Jack. Okay, it's been a really horrible 4 games for us. And of course, none of us would have liked to have been here 4 games in, 0 points, bottom of the league, -8 goal difference, if I'm not mistaken. But we're 1 point from safety. There are other teams that are having bad starts, and there's a lot of football to be played. And maybe some of us were a bit guilty of just pressing the panic alarm a bit too early and signing us off to relegation after 3 games. Yes, I still think we're very likely to go down, but there's a lot of football to be played. I'm sure you agree.
A lot of football to be played, and also a lot of activity to come, hopefully in the next 24 to 36, whatever hours. And I think that in itself is very important. We get the players in. But one thing to focus on: as soon as the full-time whistle went, I switched over to watch the final minute of the Arsenal game, and Sheffield United had a chance to make it 2-2. They didn't score. So the fact they're on 0, and I was looking at I didn't watch the Burnley game yesterday, but I kept an eye on the Newcastle result, and I'm pleased that they're now on 0 as well. We shouldn't be relying on other teams. We shouldn't be looking at their results, but you can't help but do it. I mean, West Brom lost again today, which is fine. To people writing us off early on, fair enough. You can look at the defensive frailties and go, Fulham are not good enough defensively. But that performance today, like I just said, was encouraging, and hopefully we bring in new centre backs. They can gel in over the international break. We've got this massive game coming up against Sheffield United, who are also on 0 points. If we can go there and get a result, we'll be definitely outside the relegation zone. And that's where you want to be. You want to be at least within the pack of those who might go down. I think there's 4 or 5 teams who could be in trouble this season, and we're obviously one of them. It's just important we get that first point. We were so close to doing it today. I really thought we could do it. But I'm not going to be down in the dumps for the next 2 weeks, which is good because I feel as though it's been a difficult start. The Villa game everyone was getting really upset with the Villa game. It's just the way we defended in the first half, especially. But yeah, I'm taking a lot of positives into this, and I think that we have a chance. We have a chance.
Cam Stutely says, up next, Sheffield United must win. And Joe, you look at the 4 fixtures coming up. It's Sheffield United, it's Palace, it's West Brom, and I believe West Ham after that. Okay, West Ham suddenly turned into Barcelona. Well, maybe not Barcelona, Bayern Munich in the last couple of weeks, but still really, really winnable games. And it's so important that we get the next 24 hours right in the transfer window. I've seen so many rumours with who we're signing at centre-back. I saw that Get French Football News, is that what they're called? GFFN said that Todibo from Barcelona is done. I mean, I'm unsure whether to be happy about him. Like, I spoke to one of my French mates, JS, who's a football journalist, and he really wasn't singing his praises at all. But compared to what we've got right now, I guess beggars can't be choosers, and we just need some quality bodies in. And if they're a bit rough around the edges, that's probably what we're going to have to settle for.
Yeah, I think we have to realise that the problem with leaving business late is even though sometimes you can get a bit of a gem, it's going to be quite hard to convince players that have a few options to come to the team that is currently bottom of the league, even though it is so early in the season. I mean, that's just the way it is. You can't blame them for being hesitant. I think that anyone we signed, unless they were really, really a poor defender, will be an improvement in terms of just natural quality, because our current defenders, even though I thought they performed, Lamarchand and Ream, very, very admirably today, if we play them over the course of the whole season, I can't see us keeping many, if any, clean sheets, just purely on the balance of the quality of them versus the quality of the strikers we're going to face. I think, like Jack said, it's a huge 48 hours, because I also think that this game showed that we do need another player attacking-wise as well. I thought that Lookman looked brilliant when he came on, such a bright spark, and his movement led to the Kamara chance. And it was the same as the Brentford game. He looked like our brightest player going forward. There's been links to Cantwell, Josh King. I mean, I think if we just had another player with a little bit of quality up front so that we didn't have to rely on Mitrovic and now I guess Lookman as well, if we had 3-4 players up there that all have quality, we've got a real chance. Because I think if we play like we did today, or maybe a little bit better, hopefully, against Sheffield United, against West Brom, like you said, then we'll pick up points. And it's those 4 games that need to be a springboard. Because if you look at the fixtures at the start of the season, you look at Wolves and you think, horrible game, most likely going to be a loss no matter how well we play. And today we did push them all the way. And I've seen a lot of Wolves fans saying they weren't happy with the performance. I don't think that's all down to Wolves. I think that we really defended well against them and were so compact when they had the ball, for the first half especially, that there wasn't much they could do.
Yeah, indeed. Well, you come on to Lookman. I want to ask you, Jack, about him. BW Thomas says, Lookman was fantastic. If he had started, we may have got at least a draw. Hard to disagree there. And GB London, Lookman looks the business. I don't know if he is amazing or we've watched so many poor players before him, and I think it's so true. I mean, we look absolutely toothless on the wing until he came on. I don't mind Joe Bryan, actually. I think he's okay on the wing, but he's clearly a left back that's doing a job rather than a natural permanent fix up there. I think it might just be after half a season of watching Cavallero do nothing. I don't. What has happened to Ivan Cavallero? He looks quite good at the start of last season and so poor. And yeah, Lookman was a breath of fresh air.
Sammy, the best chance for Wolves in the first half came about because Ivan Cavallero decided to flick the ball away, try and backheel the ball away just outside the box. It's just, why? Why are you doing that? And he looks so toothless on the wing. And I think that Ademola Lookman, thank God he could play on the right-hand side as well. I actually like the combination of Robinson Bryan, because you've got the overlapping pace of of Robinson, and also you've got two players there who can really whip a ball into the box. But Lookman came on and he beat literally like every man every time he got the ball. He won the foul. I think he got trodden on by Ruben Neves at the end of the game. But
that was naughty.
I
think he was a little bit lucky there.
Yeah, I think that Lookman had a right to be annoyed at him. And look, this guy's really bright, and he probably should have started over Cavallero today, because Cavallero offers nothing. Knockaert not even in the squad. I don't know what's happening with him. Maybe he's off. It's just been a real waste of money looking at Cavallero and Knockaert on these permanent deals. I don't think Bobby Reid is too bad. He gives us an option up front and he can drop into midfield. But I'm really excited about Lookman, and it's the one player, which we said on the group chat earlier, the one player we signed, but we don't have an option to buy him, which is a bit frustrating, but you can tell why Leipzig want to keep him. He's superb.
Yeah, I don't know why I was so underwhelmed when we signed him. I think it was just because it wasn't a flipping centre-back, and I was like, why? Stop buying wingers. But actually, fair play to him, came on and made that chance. And Joe, I was quite surprised how tame that was from Kamara. Like, I thought if Kamara was going to mess it up, it would be because he hit it into row Z or tried to leather it, and he got it all wrong. He tried too hard, I think, to keep it down. Because it's an amazing chance, particularly at Premier League level. If you've got a free shot on goal like that, you should at least be working the keeper, and it just went straight at Patricio. And I mean, we had some chances after that, but nothing quite in that caliber.
No, that was the big chance, wasn't it? Throughout the whole game, that was the big one. And you almost feel if it fell to Mitrovic rather than Kamara, and it was the other way around, we'd probably be talking about Wolves 1, Fulham 1 right now. But I think you're right. I think he tried so hard to keep it on target that he just forgot to hit it with power. It almost didn't really matter where he hit it. If he hit it with power, he was that close to the goal. And as big as Patricio is, I think if Kamara hits it as hard as he can, I don't think he's saving that. And that all came from Lookman again. It's just really disappointing, because I think the way we worked that, we're not normally a counter-attacking team at all. And the fact that we got from one end to the other so quickly, absolutely walked through their defence, and then for that to be the finish is really disappointing. But I'm glad that we created something, because I think that was an issue against Aston Villa and an issue against Arsenal as well. I mean, Leeds is the only game so far where I think we've created a number of chances. And I think that it was nice that we didn't look completely toothless up front in terms of chance creation. Cabana had a couple at the end. We had a few dangerous free kick positions. I think on another day we could have got a goal. And we're going to be playing teams far worse than Wolves in the future. I'm not saying that Wolves are suddenly like title contenders or anything, or like the best team in the league, but they're up there. They're a top 10 team, possibly top 7, top 8 team these days. And there's definitely reasons to be optimistic after this game, because after that Aston Villa game, like you said about being underwhelmed about the Lookman signing, I think we'd have been underwhelmed no matter who we signed the next day, because everything seemed so bleak. It was just everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. And then the Lookman signing sort of went under the radar. And then as bright as he looked against Brentford, everything else went wrong as well. And it's sort of like just still a bit doom and gloom. So it was nice that I don't want to have this mentality when it's like we lost, but at least we played well and we're all happy, because obviously we're not happy because we did lose. But the difference between less than a week ago in that Aston Villa game, even in that Brentford game, in terms of looking like a team, and a team that put their bodies on the line, even for the Neto goal, was just so much better to see.
Yeah, and I want to come on to the goalkeeper situation, Jack, because today might be the day where my opinion slightly changed on who should be number one. This one from Sean Foley, I think he sums it up for me. Sad for Rodak, but that was a seriously top performance from our new number one today. I mean, that double save, I was adamant that was going in. And you mentioned, of course, it was Cavallero's flick that led to that chance. Stunning save. And also not just the save, but the way he commanded his box and caught so many crosses that Wolves put into the... I've just never felt so assured when a cross was coming in that Areola will definitely try and do the right thing here. Of course, he's not going to get to every cross that ever comes into our box, but it makes you a lot more comfortable as a fan, and particularly that he catches rather than punches generally.
Yeah, I was just about to say, he punched one ball out of how many came in, and he caught a couple or three. The double save is brilliant. The way you kind of see, if you watch like training drills, like from clubs that they post on YouTube, you always see the ones where they have to make the save and then quickly get up and make the second. And that's exactly what he did. It looked like he was just easy going to roll that under the keeper for 1-0. But Areola's just so quick off his line, so quick up on his feet to make that save, really commanding. And even the one-on-one with Jimenez, it was quite lucky how the ball went over the top and Lamarchand was done for pace, but commanding, and then got straight back up. And, the tame second effort was straight at the keeper. Look, Areola was brought in for competition for Rodak, and it just seems that the quality is shining through at the moment. I'm really pleased for him. I think he made some really top saves today, and it looked really promising for him.
Joe, Michael Hector, I said before the match on Twitter that I thought it was the wrong call to drop Michael Hector. Yes, he's been poor. Chris Lewis says, smart move, though, to drop Hector for this one. His head had gone. MLM and Ream looked reasonably assured. Obviously, we've come on to the defence, but is there a way in back for Michael Hector? I feel like there has to be. Whilst, yes, he started poor, I still think he's the best centre-back we have at the club right now. Hopefully he becomes the second best centre-back after Monday, but that we'll kind of wait and see on that one. But there still has to be a place for Michael Hector.
There's definitely got to be a place for him in the squad, but I'm not sure about the starting 11 because I was interested today by the fact that he, Parker, started Ream ahead of Hector on that right-hand side. And it sort of made me think, well, if you think back to the Arsenal game, Ream made quite a bad mistake for the first goal where he sort of fluffed the clearance. But on the day, he was the best defender out of the two, I think. And then he got dropped for the Leeds game and Hector continued. And then Hector continued against Villa and Brentford. And to be honest, didn't shine in either. And it sort of makes me think, well, if it was any other defender, everyone would be calling for them to be dropped. And I think it is bold because on paper, he is our best defender currently at the club. And he was a monster for so many games in the Championship last season. Not all, but I don't think any defender is amazing in all games. And I just feel like if they're out of form, they shouldn't be playing. And I thought Ream did a much better job than Hector has in any game so far this season. I think questions have got to be asked of Ream for the goal, sadly. I mean, it's it's an awkward ball over the top and he sort of tried to hook it away. I've seen a few people saying, oh, that should be an easy clearance. I'm not 100% sure because he's turning and he was out sort of going with the attacker and then the ball was in front of him. And I think we did quite well to block the first shot. And then the second was just a great drilled effort, to be honest. I just hope that by this time tomorrow, Michael Hector is at least our second best defender on paper. Hopefully, to be honest, without being greedy, our third best, because I do feel we need two in. And hopefully we'll get two in. But I mean, what a day of the year transfer deadline day is, just pure mayhem from start to finish. I think we'll be linked with everyone that we haven't already been. But with Hector, I just feel like he just hadn't started right. And I think that Parker's made a good decision. I think my eyebrows were raised when I saw the team, just purely because two left-footed centre-backs, can it work? I'm not sure. Will it be awkward? It didn't look awkward. I thought Ream did fine at right centre-back and better than Hector has this season. So I don't think that after the international break, whether we sign a new defender or not, that Hector should be guaranteed his place back.
No, I guess not. And I just would love to stop seeing the chopping and changing. And fingers crossed, after a couple of games, once we've signed these new centre-backs, presuming that we do, that we can just settle on a back four. It was the problem in 18-19. We kept chopping and changing. And the thing is, Jack, at the moment, though, we do have a fair amount of injuries. Like you look at someone like Burnley and they're kind of being given a bit of a pass because they've got injuries. We're missing Harrison Reed. We're now missing Kenny Tete. Like, we are a little bit dilapidated. And Harrison Reed is such a crucial player. I thought Anguissa and Kenny in that middle looked okay today. I guess maybe because it wasn't a back five, there was a bit more protection in that midfield. But I actually thought they looked quite good today. Maybe the way that Wolves played, they kind of allowed them to have a lot of the ball and a lot of time on the ball, suited both of them, particularly Kearney.
Yeah, I think that Kearney was fine. He pinged balls around, and Anguissa, he's really good at just getting out of tight situations, I think. And we played some nice triangles to get out of danger. And my only issue is that Harrison Reed, injured, obviously, is disappointing. I think he'll be back for after the international break. And I'd like to see Anguissa and Reed and then Kearney playing the 10. Because the problem is, I think we're too slow in possession. And the only good times, the only dangerous chances we had today was on the break, which isn't great because you just want to create things by having the ball. And I think that having someone like Kearney just behind the striker instead of someone like Bobby Reid, he can pull it out wide or he can clip a ball in towards Mitrovic or something. And I just feel like that's something that we're missing. And Harrison Reid protecting the back four is what you really want to see. And Guisa box to box, it makes perfect sense. But I was encouraged by Kearney today. I think he didn't really put a foot wrong. And Guisa lost the ball a couple of times, but I wasn't too fussed about that. Well, it looks like Anguissa's staying, which is fantastic, unless something happens tomorrow. I don't think that's going to happen. I think if one player leaves, it might be Johansson or Seri, as he wasn't on the bench today, Seri. I'm so pleased that we've got Anguissa for the whole season because he really is good. And they were waxing lyrical about him on commentary about how good he was at Villarreal. Yeah, he's got to be a mainstay in that midfield, but I would put Kearney as the 10.
Yeah, and you saw a few moments of Kearney's quality day, particularly winning that free kick, which I thought the Sky commentators were a bit harsh to say that he dived for it, which I was thinking,
really going anywhere.
He wasn't really going anywhere, but he got clipped. Like, it was a fair enough. I think it was a fair enough call. I think it was a bit harsh to say that he dived. This one, just more of a comment, really, from Jamie Daniel Moon. Refreshing to see us use fluid system that suits players and solves problems we have in different phases. Gives a clap emoji to Scott Parker. And then a few people coming up with this kind of question. Would you put Aina at centre-back and Tete at right-back when Tete comes back? And I thought Aina was okay today. I didn't think he was mesmerizing, but it could be an option. But I'd like to think, Joe, that we don't have to resort to that.
Well, I'd like to think that we'll have a new centre back in. I don't think that should be forgotten, even though this game obviously wasn't as bad as anyone feared. I thought that Aina did fine today. Yeah, I mean, I was quite worried when I saw him on the team sheet, not because I thought he was overly bad against Brentford, but just he seemed a yard off the pace. He seemed like he was just a little bit slow to everything. And today I thought he was pretty good. I thought he was fairly solid down his side, maybe a little bit poor on the ball at times, but defensively is what we needed him to do most. And defensively, I thought he was fine. Tete, I'm not sure when he'll be back because obviously Parker said he needs to go and see a specialist for his calf injury, I think it is. But I think Tete is the best right back we have at the club, so he should start. And I don't think that we should be relying on a makeshift centre half. I think that we should bring one in. Obviously, if we suddenly had an injury crisis and we didn't have a centre back, then I'm sure Aina could do a job there. But in answer to that question, I think Tete should start right back, but I don't think Aina should start as centre back.
Yeah, a few comments on Aina. Fabian said Aina was much better compared to Thursday. I mean, it wasn't hard. He was flipping terrible. This was a good point. Aina's crossing was poor. It was. And actually, generally, some of our crossing today just was a bit poor, Jack. And that does need to improve. And also maybe the fact that we do need to stop being a little bit... that was the beauty, I thought, when Lookman came on. We didn't look so one-dimensional. There looked like more different ways that we could potentially attack Wolves, whereas before maybe Lookman came on, especially in the first half, it literally looked like the only way we will score is if someone does an inch-perfect cross and Mitrovic manages to get his head on it. I couldn't see another way that Fulham were going to score. And Lookman, just because he could beat one or two players, changed the game and meant that Wolves were on the back foot and actually we could attack not just down the wings, but also through the middle.
Yeah, I think I remember that goal we scored last season where Kamara played that beauty of a cross for Mitrovic against Swansea and we won the game. And actually put in a really dangerous ball in, but I think Cody got the touch that sent it behind for a throw-in. The crossing today was a bit lackluster. Aina and Brian and Robinson just wasn't quite on. Like, you want to find Mitrovic, you didn't really find him at all, really. I think that Lookman offers us something different. He can open up the space in the box, especially. And if you get players around him, and then chances can be created. We were very one-dimensional against Aston Villa, and when Tete went off, I didn't see how we were going to score at all when Kamara was playing at right wing back. And look, I'm fairly, I don't know what to think. I think 4 games in, 0 points, but there are signs of improvements. I think that Kenny Tete is a big miss though because he is our best right back.
Yeah, indeed. And Harrison Reid as well. I think with Harrison Reid in the team, the problems that we saw against Villa potentially wouldn't have happened. And we just do look like such a more balanced side. Joe, just to finish off, kind of a report card really on the first 4 games. What your overall thoughts are, how much kind of positive thinking have you got right now? And kind of your just prospects for this season? Are we in for the worst season in history? Are we going to eclipse Derby's record lowest points total, or is there a little bit of hope? I imagine your answer, quite a lot of it depends on what happens tomorrow, but just generally your thoughts on what's been a hard opening few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it would be quite a bad grade, I think, if we were doing a grading system. So I'm not going to do that, because obviously 4 games, 0 points is not great. But it's actually quite bad. I feel like if you asked me this after the Villa game, and this is why I don't want to be seen as, just a bit fickle. After one game, you're so down, and after the next, you're feeling so much more positive. But the fact that it seemed like Parker had learnt during this week how to set the team up better makes me far more positive. And we already looked better at both ends of the pitch than that Aston Villa game. So if you factor Reed back in, if you factor Tete back in, if you assume, please, Tony Khan sign at least 2 centre-backs. I don't want to hear at least 1. I want 2, honestly, because I just think that, well, what is the point of buying 1? And then we've already basically assumed that the ones we've currently got are not good enough. If we can get 2 in, even if one's just on loan for the season, like survival is so crucial this season. We've worked so hard in that one season and got a bit lucky to get back. I don't think we should let this, to quote Steven Gerrard, this opportunity slip. And I just feel like I feel a lot more optimistic after this game. But I think tomorrow, like someone put it out on Twitter, tomorrow is much bigger than today was for us. I think that the deadline day is huge. I think that we need quality defenders in that can improve us, because that 4-game window after the international break that you alluded to earlier is massive. You've got a game against Sheffield United where we got to get something. You've got home games against Palace and West Brom, which you should say we should win. We've then got to go to the London Stadium, play West Ham, who've been very good recently, but at the same time, they're a team that you would think are going to be in the lower half of the table, possibly relegation. So sorry for rambling. I would say my scorecard is much room for improvement, but much better than last week. And I'm optimistic that as long as we have a successful deadline day tomorrow, where we bring in at least 2, hopefully 3 quality players, both in defence and going forward, then we can stay up.
And Jack, what's your dream day tomorrow? What's your dream scenario in terms of who Fulham bring in realistically? Like, obviously we all want Jadon Sancho to sign, but that's not going to happen. So who exactly, maybe not necessarily names, but just positions and what exactly you're looking for tomorrow?
2 centre-backs minimum. I mean, I'd even push for 3. I don't want to sound greedy or desperate, but it's got to that point where you might just need that. So Todibo looks quite close. There's a guy from PSV who looks fairly close as well that I've been reading this morning. You said not names, but I saw Josh King linked, so he'd be a really good option going forward. So I would say 2 centre-backs, someone going forward, and maybe even a right back again. I mean, I don't want to sound dramatic, but Ola Aina, he's okay defensively, but I don't want to be having him or Adoy at right back if Tete's out. And maybe a midfielder as well. But
well, this is what I was going to say. Maybe what Fulham do need, just because Reed is so injury prone, that and Kevin McDonald clearly can't do that job even for a game or 2 anymore. It seems like, sadly, obviously we all love K-Mac, and I would actually love to have him around. And I seem quite surprised that they're trying to get rid of him, but I kind of understand it if Kevin McDonald wants a couple more seasons of playing first team football, and he deserves that if that's what he wants. But can we try and get someone that plays CDM, that's looking for a shot in the Premier League, either from a lower division or maybe from a bigger club on loan? Because as much as I love Harrison Reed, are we going to have him for 20 games this season and just not have a CDM for the rest of the season? That would be maybe my thing. Obviously, in addition to what you said, 2 centre-backs clearly, and maybe someone up front if we can. But it's going to be, I don't know. I mean, bloody hell, Tony has got the biggest 24 hours, I dare say, of his career. Like, I don't think he's got bigger 24 hours than this.
You're right. But the thing is, sometimes these things happen. Oh, my word. Sometimes these things happen where we get a player in that hasn't been linked and it's just out of nowhere. It happened with, I think, Harrison Reed. I think it happened with Lucas Piazon. What's that? Old Trafford?
Vieto.
Yeah, Vieto. It's just like players out of absolutely nowhere. So I think tomorrow we might bring in four players.
Well, fingers crossed that Fulham can do the business tomorrow, a little bit more than we did the business today, but much improved, as we kind of alluded to, and a massive 24 hours. I like this one from Pure Power. I hope there's nothing happening in AEW tomorrow from Pure Power, which
I think Fulham Twitter would just explode if it was focused on wrestling tomorrow.
If there's any wrestling tweets tomorrow, I'm sorry, I will take him down myself. So fingers crossed we get the business done. Jack and Joe, thank you for being on the first full-time live. We didn't drop off air as far as I know. So I think we can call this a resounding success.
Yeah, it's very good. Thank you very much, Sammy.
No worries. And more good stuff to come on the YouTube channel, particularly from Jack and Joe in the next few weeks as well. So have a good couple of weeks, and I imagine there'll be a lot more Fulhamish content tomorrow with transfer deadline day. So come on, you Whites. Thanks for watching.